Hello everyone, it's another quick week that you're probably enjoying and the market have been very robust and Dow Jones and S&P 500 have hit record highs again S&P 500 with less that were kind of flat for the week. U.S. stock were mixed on Monday with Dow Jones Industrial Average up 106 points and Nasdaq Index was up 23.75. Oil prices was down as much as 5% to $65 per barrel. Obviously, it saw a rebound later of the week. Bitcoin jumped as much as 6% on Monday. As you can see, Bitcoin have been very robust right now, while keep going up, to $46,000. But Moderna also jumped as much as 90%. Energy stocks, and tech stock more than 1% as oil slipped lower. Treasury yield went up around about 1.3%, which is really attractive for the business. Borrowing that boost the market sectors bank for 1% higher. Mega tech also gained in the borrow market. So Coinbase rose 9% as Bitcoin went up to about $45,000. So Monday was a really great day for the market. Then Tuesday, global stock climbed as Tuesday record high, but Nasdaq slipped about 0.5%. The infrastructure bill passed in the Senate, which seems to be good news and subject to Republican Party for approval. Democrat made it to advance a larger package with the Republican support alongside the infrastructure bill. So $1 trillion is most likely, like Biden said 3 months ago, going to happen. And remember the stock that I was endorsing at the time, which have been slipping quite a bit. The Blank, which is the charging station, clean energy. If you look at that stock, have gone down below $10 now, $8, which at one point was $17, 50% off. And then a couple other energy related stock that and bowling as well will be also on the watcher for that too. So and education stock wouldn't recommend investing. So even though that was part of the infrastructure deal, and obviously Democrats trying to push it harder with the budget balancing act that will get a 3.5 trillion. So it will be very interesting to see of how much of it. And my prediction may be it will end up 2 trillion, but then what happened to the U.S. dollars and the Treasury yield? If the Treasury yield remains down, then obviously Nasdaq remains to be good. Remember back in the March and April timeline, Treasury yields really went high to 1.5% and ultimately hit up to 1.75%. At that time, people were very skeptical and worried about the lot of selling pressure on Nasdaq stock, and obviously rebound in May, and up to this point now it actually drove higher. On Wednesday, the CPI was up more modestly, driving the market higher. The 41 billion auction 10-year Treasury notes on Wednesday was well received. So with a bid to cover ratio highs ever since May 2020. So that was a good sign again. Stability of U.S. currency after economic recovery. Bank sectors were up again 1% due to this news. Like JP Morgan hitting $160 now at the end of a week. Inventories fell by 448,000 barrels in the week of August 6th. The news drove the energy stock higher. Tech sector lost some favor and under pressure as a rising the rate environment, because Tuesday the rate went up a little bit. Last day was down 0.2%. Western shares were up over in a couple of days, but fell sharply following a report. The European Union's drug regulators saying they're investigating potential new side effects. So I finally get my first shot of vaccine since I didn't have a job, and I lost my job again because if you hear my video what happened. And then also the issues about after collectively about 6 months of data, I felt a little bit more comfortable with the vaccine. I took it. The first 2 days were fine, but the third day now I start to see some effect, and my foot was hurt at one point, but recover, and that's why I don't see any pain or any issue. No high blood pressure, normal when to take the vaccine. But my foot apparently having problem now that I had a hard time walking. So I hope it will be fixed in a couple of days, but I'll stay tuned next week and see what happened to it. I think it's supposed to be monitoring for 2 weeks. If any problem, you need to go and report it, or maybe go to hospital in a serious case. And I hope mine is not the case. It will be just the vaccine start taking effect, and once it's all injected and fully and having the antibiotics, then I'll be recovered. Otherwise, I'm in big trouble, So just want to share that with you. I mean, people were saying 2 days and they don't have had anything, fine, but I seems to, in my case, I dispute that because my problem came in the 3rd day after I injected the vaccine. So US dollar trade lower after CPI data ending 92.07 and VEX remain were lower 16.06 on Wednesday. So I think it's kind of good to wait for the side effect study and see what happened. And also I reserved to see what happened before determined to take the second shot of vaccine. I took Pfizer, and really you kind of out of no choice, because if I want to go back to Hong Kong and travel in China, ultimately or eventually, not right now at this stage, but you have to have vaccinated. I mean, there's no other cure right now. This is the only way, right? So maybe there will be cure, drugs, or medicine to fix the COVID, but we don't know when and whether the side effect either, right? So, I mean, you have to go along with the play. But for older people, like my mom, I'm really more skeptical. I mean, she has some sort of knee problem, so if I have the problem with my foot, I know she will be getting even more severe. So I will be a good case for her to determine whether she should be okay to take the vaccine. And that's, so hopefully people understand the valid concern, especially people living with older people, the people who live by themselves and young, hope have some sympathy and understanding of that. I know a lot of people don't understand that, especially in America. They don't care, right? They think they live by themselves. They think that's the norms, but that's not less. Most of the Americans, they send their parents to a nursing home. But Chinese people or Asian or other culture, they don't necessarily operate that way. So I hope you will show some respect and understanding of that. I think that is the lack why Americans view differently than the Chinese when the treatment or how to view COVID-19, because of our culture, of the way how we live, how we do things, who we are with, and our social circle. So if we talk America is a respect of justice and no discrimination, then I think that is something people hopefully will learn from my video and understanding that. So Thursday, jobs claim have been largely falling at a peak in economic activity strained business condition. Stock market in Asia slipped due to the spread of Delta variant. Again, China is showing that have a spread and have a news talking about some people get infected in the port, so they shut down 2 ports for 7 or 14 days, which is legitimate procedures. So nothing to be concerned about it. You read the U.S. news, don't panic. That's just legitimate. And then, because I think there's a lot of news saying a lot of negative things about China right now, which is not, like on previous video, people know what my stand was saying is, media used to tell people the truth, but there's some deviation now these days. So I hope people understanding that, right? And with big company like Facebook bought in the Wall Street Journal, I don't remember your journey. They kind of control what to publish these days too, right? So that's something to think about, right? And then for the small press, they're trying to impress people to reading them. They will take a lot of, just one exceptional case to make a big deal about it. So I don't know. When reading news, you just have to be a little bit more careful and need to do more due diligence than old days. That's just the way when you have a lot of information news that flood into you, like just a stock market. I receive hundreds of emails. I need to go through them to share with you which I think, and with the due diligence. And again, at this point, I didn't do any valuation, because most of the stock are overvaluing my opinion. So, as the market continues to go up, there's nothing to be concerned at the moment. And then Bitcoin apparently is another interesting thing that you were dipped into $29,000 and now jumped back to $46,000 again, and maybe break through 50,000. Then it's a 50 days average, and we'll continue to push it up. So though Bitcoin has now approved of $15 an hour, so that's the other thing. So, and also Tokyo Nikkei closed 0.14% lower, while Hong Kong Hang Seng Index was also 0.56% lower. Shanghai Composite fell 0.23% on Thursday market. The Asian market seems to be a little bit struggle at this moment in terms of investment in the stock. And the initial job unemployment claims in regular state program total 375,000, which is down by 12,000 from the previous week. But just like I told you before, right? If you hear my video, I still gonna very persistent and consistent my message. You need to go check in and look at the state not just the nation, but also the state numbers where you live in, because salary is decreasing for the most part, except for those who were in minimum wage, because Biden want to raise the minimum wage for $15 an hour, as you know. So a lot of companies say they already follow. They have hard time hiring people, so they raise the money to the people being more attractive to work for them. So so you can see a lot of low-end jobs that actually have a lot of hiring. So, but then from the office perspective, like I work in office, I can compare with that group of people. It doesn't make any sense, right? So you can't look at the mixed message, like number reporting like that, and say the economy is actually doing well. This has been very persistent message that I've told you about, and I hope the employer understanding that will actually look at, well, if I look at the market rate, what am I going to look at? Don't look at the $15 an hour trying to pay me $20 an hour with 10 years plus experience. That doesn't make any sense, right? And part of it, that's why I told you, I continually supporting Powell and Yellen, what they were saying about, tapering, delaying, because the economy does not look as good as you are. And then you say, again, real estate, a lot of purchases and things, like in China is a good example. You can see the market price has gone up in the last 5 years. It looks great, but who are the people actually buying them? The people who are just working for a job, can not afford it, right? So you have to be very careful about the market, not because the legitimate reason that the interest rate is low, so buy a house, right? And at the end of the day, you're hoping the property going to go up with valuation, so that's where you earn the money. So you have to be very careful about that. But obviously, if stock market versus house, yes, I think you buy a house is a better move, but you got to calculating what being putting all the costs and expenses and assuming, let's say you rent it out to somebody else and something broke, which are maintenance costs. What if somebody bailed out because they had a job, they got laid off and they couldn't pay your rent for 2 months? What are you going to do? Obviously, they already paid you 2 months down payment, so probably it's okay. Deposit, so maybe you're okay from there. But again, the risk as well in terms of real estate. So somebody need to think through when the broker trying to knock on your door and tell you to buy a house and say this is the perfect and best time in America ever or in the world to buy a real estate, right? You got to be careful about that because you can lose money off that. And then obviously, again, the market looked very good on Thursday, and Plantir, I can't even say this word, Palantir, which is a military company that finally go IPO after 10 years. Their stock surged 15% after reporting better than expected earnings. So this stock may go up to, if Biden $1 trillion infrastructure is part of the company that will be, to be benefit from. And the FANG also both set up at higher prices, which is another really great turn. But Micron, MICLN, was 6% lower after Morgan Stanley have downgraded them and the price target lowered to $75 a share. Energy was also a bigger set of decline on Thursday at the day as it remained under pressure, of the oil prices, and White House called OPEC and its allies to boost productions, and Disney also obviously after market reporting very good. Wall Street earning the beat Wall Street expectations. So remember, I told people to buy Disney. So depending on what price you're buying at, you should making a profit now. Again, I still think there's some movie coming up that will be definitely benefit from them. Theme park will be a little bit challenging still. Delta variant remains uncertain, but at the end of the day, if you look at 6 months or longer, this still will be, you read the Disney history, look at the graph, it's ups and down, and right now they're just not, let's say, at a very favorable position. But if back to normal, they in the future they will be pretty really well staged, and I really think they will go up $200. It's really not surprising. And then Tom Lee claimed that everything while it could boost the market, the coming fall in the Delta surge subsides. He also believes that Bitcoin may surge up to $100,000 per year by year end. So that's not from me, from him. Okay, we'll see if that happens. AMC is planning to accept Bitcoin by end of the year. That's just the plan. So I don't know if it's really materialized. But with that type of news, it's driving the Bitcoin going up. You know that. I'm predicting the market may value for a couple more days. There are things that are coming up this week. The spotlight will be energy inventory again. and talking about Home Depot earnings, Walmart earnings, and NVIDIA's chips, which is the chips processing production company reporting earnings. So and also you. And then after you go back up for a couple more days, the potential will be slipping going down. So if this time is see going down for more than 3 days in a row or so, well, there's chances there is a correction coming. Remember the graph I showed in previous video. If not, go back to the last two video. One is for Dow Jones Industrial Index, a curve, and then the other one is for Nasdaq. It gave you a story very well on there. So there will always a V-shape, V-shape, V-shape. Right now we're still going up, but if it's going down, then you have to wait for the formation of V-shape, which could take some time to be going down, and before it's going to rally again. To go back up, which somebody again last year said Dow Jones will go at $40,000, and S&P 500 technical at this point very close to. If you hit 4,600, then you actually met the number that was targeted a few months ago for 9% raise. So you got to be very careful again. I'm still proposing to stop that. I have given in the past, and even though Chinese stock was a little bit still at a challenge at the moment. If you bought BA, Bowling, and DIS, you should make some good return already in very short term, maybe 5% plus. And then Apple is staying around 145 to 149 range at least for now. So not necessarily recommend buying that, but if it dip back a little bit, it was from 132 and going back up. So